What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with the RK Outpost, and we have another guest star for The Mandalorian to talk about today. One who I talked about that I had heard a couple rumors about, and today it really blew up and everyone is now talking about it. And then we also have a Star Wars rumor that, if true, as an expanded universe fan, is really gonna piss me off. But let's talk about the Mandalorian news first. So I talked about this in my video a couple days ago. Exclusive, The Mandalorian Season 2 recruits Katee Sackhoff to play Bo-Katan in live action. I talked about how I had heard that Bo-Katan was going to be in this season as well. That rumor really blew up today as this exclusive from Slash Film came out. Now, in isolation, that kind of makes sense that Bo-Katan could appear. You have the Darksaber, you have the Mandalorian aspect. All of that makes sense that she would appear at some point in Season 2. But thrown into the fact that we now have Ahsoka, we now have Boba Fett, we now have Rex, we now have Sabine also rumored to be in it, as well as others that have yet to be revealed. It's just like The Mandalorian just continues to fall into the background of his own show. Din Djarin is not the focus of this show, if he ever really was, after that first time that Baby Yoda appeared. But I would be willing to bet that over half of the audience that watches The Mandalorian doesn't even know the name Din Djarin. They don't even understand that that's the name of The Mandalorian. But I digress. This rumor's out there. I like Katee Sackhoff a lot. I think that she'll do a great job. One thing will be, is she going to take her helmet off in this show, just like she did so many times in Clone Wars and Rebels? That'll be interesting to see Mandalorian's reaction. Din Djarin's reaction to her taking off that helmet. But anyway, that is the rumor that she will be in Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Now, another rumor that I wanted to get into is this. Bounding into comics. Star Wars rumor, Grand Admiral Thrawn to make the jump to live action. Now, before we get too heated, before I get too upset, again, this is just a rumor. It's not a rumor like the Bo-Katan and the Rex and the Ahsoka one. Those have a lot more legs to them. This is just a rumor. But let's talk about it a little bit and what this could potentially mean if they do this. A new rumor details that Grand Admiral Thrawn will make the jump to live action. This rumor comes from Mikey Sutton and his Geekosity Facebook group. Now, I have heard of this Facebook group before. I have heard of Mikey Sutton before. I can't tell you exactly how reliable he is, and I'm not a part of that group, so I can't see the original post, but it is listed here. Sutton writes, I've held on to this for months now, and I'm tired of waiting for additional details to put this out. Thrawn will make his live-action debut, I am told, possibly in the next 2 years. His live-action debut. Not only does Sutton detail that Thrawn will make his live-action debut, but he also notes there will be less animated content coming out of Lucasfilm in the near future as they switch their focus to more live-action series given the success of The Mandalorian. Now, this rumor could possibly run a little contrary to some other things we have heard. For months now, there has been rumors that people feel pretty confident about a spin-off series from Rebels. Not a Rebels sequel series, but a spin-off series featuring Sabine, Rex, and Ahsoka as they go and they look for Ezra, who was last seen in the unknown regions with Grand Admiral Thrawn. I thought there was a potential that they could be bringing Thrawn back in that. If there's anyone that doesn't know who Thrawn is, he's a character who first appeared in 1991 in Heir to the Empire, in one of the greatest Star Wars stories that is out there, the original Zahn trilogy. 3 books that really kicked the expanded universe into overdrive. When the expanded universe really started picking up, it was an EU character that in 2014, when they decided to go their own way, they got rid of all these books that are part of the expanded universe. They rebranded them as Legends, no longer part of canon. We wanted to do our own thing. Well, what do? They take this character who is loved and adored by so many fans, and to try to win over those fans, they stick him in the child's animated series Star Wars Rebels, and they completely cuck out the character. Grand Admiral Thrawn would have destroyed those fools in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. And he doesn't. He gets ran around. He is not Grand Admiral Thrawn. He may look like him. He may have blue skin. They may call him Thrawn. but he is not the Grand Admiral Thrawn from the EU. They bastardized his character completely. And so for them to want to continue to do that pisses me off a little bit after they tried and failed earlier. But let's keep reading. Sutton explains, there's chatter among my sources that Lucasfilm will gradually decrease their animated Star Wars projects. Notice I didn't say cancel. There's a preteen crowd that cartoons aimed at their generation will provide a gateway into this IP. I agree that is the crowd it's aimed at. Sutton then adds, but with the massive success of The Mandalorian, Disney strongly believes the franchise is better served with live action, especially with Dave Filoni at the helm. He goes on to explain that stories that might have previously been animated series are now better suited for live action due to their commercial potential. The stories that would have been animated programs have more commercial potential as live action, which will help rejuvenate their theatrical counterparts. Now, this could be what I was talking about. We heard of this spin-off series, Ahsoka, Sabine, Rex, Ezra, and Thrawn. That was supposed to be animated. With this news, could this potentially mean they are shifting that to not animated, to live action series? It would make a lot more sense why all these characters are now rumored to make appearances in The Mandalorian if it's to set up a live action spin-off series. Again, it's just a rumor, but when you put these things together, that starts to make a lot more sense in my mind. But let's continue to read on. Sutton then details there's an ongoing philosophical change at Lucasfilm and Star Wars. Let the past die is not a philosophy that Filoni, Favreau, and Feige share, who are all knee-deep in Star Wars' expanded and rich history. In fact, Sutton believes the expanded universe will return. He writes, the EU is coming, bank on it. Now that, when I read that, that really pissed me off. Because Disney had an opportunity to use the expanded universe, to pick and choose which stories they wanted to tell from stories that had already been created, and jump off all the work and all the dedication that had been done at Lucasfilm, including by George Lucas, to craft some of these stories. But they didn't. They decided to throw it away. And I'm gonna go full screen for this right now. They decided to throw it away. You can't bring back the EU without decanonizing everything that the sequel trilogy did. The greatest stories from the expanded universe that you want to use, you cannot because you ruined them. There's no way that Mara Jade can exist in a world where Luke Skywalker becomes the dude that he is. There's no way that Jason and Jaina Solo, the twin son and daughter of Han and Leia, who were actually married, who actually stayed together, who their relationship actually meant something. Han Solo didn't become a deadbeat dad and then get killed by Kylo Ren. No, Jason and Jaina had an incredible story. Didn't happen. Luke Skywalker had a son named Ben Skywalker, who would go on to be a powerful Jedi in his own right. That can't happen anymore. If you bring the expanded universe back, like Mikey Sutton says they want to do, it will be a shell of itself. It will just be like everything they have tried to do. It'll be just like Thrawn. It'll be a shell of Thrawn. Thrawn in name only. The expanded universe in name only. It will not have the heart and soul. At this point, like I said, they need to keep these things as separate as they can. I'm all for the expanded universe continuing as isolated in the Legends timeline, unless you're talking about full decanonization of everything you did in the sequel trilogy. Because that makes no sense. The expanded universe makes no sense. You can't cram it into what they've done to Disney Star Wars. So I hope they don't try. Because I can laugh off a lot of what Disney does because, like I said, I've been in this, the 5 stages of grief, I've been in this process since 2014. April 25th of 2014, when they said that all this stuff that I've spent all my time, all my energy, all my money on didn't matter. We're going to go another way. Because, it's just too complicated to keep all that straight. Then you have people like Matt Martin and the Lucasfilm Story Group, whose only job it is to keep continuity straight. That says, canon doesn't matter, just choose whatever you want. Yet canon was really important. Continuity is really important when you decided to axe all of this, wasn't it? For your one storyline that you had in mind. That in 6 years, you have more discrepancies, more continuity errors, more fuck-ups than you had in nearly 40 years of the Star Wars expanded universe. No, I do not want the expanded universe to come back under Jon Favreau, under Dave Filoni, under anyone if it means tying it in to Disney Star Wars canon. Come up with your own shit. You made this bed, Disney. Now lie in it. Stop trying to bastardize these characters to try to grab on to this somewhat passionate fan base that still exists because they still love these characters. Don't do it. I'm just saying. But that's just my opinion. As for this rumor, I guess I could see it happening. It starts to line up and make a lot of sense, especially if Thrawn is involved in this spin-off series and they want to take that to live action. I could see where Lucasfilm would see the appeal of doing that and why they would have all these cameos in The Mandalorian to help set that up. But let me know your thoughts about this. You're probably not quite as heated as me, but sound off in the comments. I want to know how you feel about it. Let me know. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I will talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.